All right, so the next thing to test is the table advance mechanism. So this part of the bracket, you can move it along this channel, depending on how much movement you want on the table, left to right. And the idea is that that connects down into here, and this will ratchet and will move the table. Now, this mechanism, pretty rudimentary, is I think it kind of jams up, and it makes it very hard for it to rotate. For it to rotate and to grab the cam and the kind of the ratcheting mechanism. But let's turn it on and see how it looks. So what's happening there is nothing. This is kind of bound up, and it's just moving it back and forth instead of this outer housing rotating and coming back. It should be doing something more like this. And so I have a couple of ideas as to why that's happening. Number one, okay, so let's go here. Number one, this mechanism, even though I tighten it, it's not really tightening up. What's happening is this part of the housing is getting caught between this kind of drive unit and the tightening handle. It's loose there now, but there's too much, it's too close. What should be happening is the inner sleeve. There's an inner sleeve inside here. You can see the lip of it right in there. That should be just longer than this kind of housing. And that will allow you to tighten this up, and the housing will just rotate on that inner sleeve. And right now it's just not giving me, it just doesn't tighten in nicely. You can see it's still loose. So I need to fix that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave down the housing just a little bit to give it some more clearance. The second piece is down here where it mounts. This mechanism, you can see this rod is sort of bent. It looks like it was either bent to try to make it work, or it bent because it wasn't working. And if that's under pressure, so if that's getting bound up left to right, it's just not going to move freely. It should, so if it's moving freely, you can get that ratcheting mechanism. But right now it's binding up. So what I'm going to do, so what I have is a linkage mechanism. So I'm going to tap this housing, thread this in there, and then I'll have a straight piece of rod go up into this connection mechanism. So I'll replace this 1/4" rod with some 5/16 and make that system just a little bit more, take out some of the resistance that's in that system. So here's that piece, and this inner sleeve is just about equal on both sides, and I want it to be slightly larger. If I were to exaggerate it, it should be sticking out a little bit on both sides. So what I'm going to do is just grind down this surface to make it so that this will move back and forth on that sleeve without getting bound up on the drive mechanism. Alright, so this inner sleeve is now sticking out a little bit, proud there. And it's got good rotation. So this will have, the housing will have a little bit of play. So next I'm going to drill a 5/16 hole here. So I did the same as before. I used a 1/4" drill bit to center on this 1/4 inch hole. Now I'll go through with 5/16. Alright, so I've done the same thing. I've located the hole with the 1/4 inch drill bit. This is a 6.6 millimeter, which is very close to the 6.7 that an M8 125 screw thread calls for. I don't have a 6.7, so we're gonna do this and we'll tap carefully. All right, I'm putting downward pressure on the quill, and seems to be going in nicely. Yeah, no complaints so far, which is usually not a great thing to say, but all right, we're coming out the other side and we are good to go. Whew. Tapping. Always stressful. M8 though is pretty good size, so shouldn't have much to worry about with that. I was a little worried that the drill size was 1/10 of a millimeter too small. That might cause some undue issues, but it was no issue. Non-issue. That's good. Alright, so we have the new setup here. There's just a little bit of play, which is what we want. And that tightened in nicely. And then here we have the ball linkage. So let's see how it does. Let's plug it in. All right, now with it plugged in, let's give it a whirl. But let's see. Make sure that this is in the right position. That's not working that way. Let's try the other way. No, it's not grabbing. The little ratchet is not ratcheting. So it's working now. Ah, there it goes. Okay, so this is experiencing a common problem. It's working now a little bit. Is that if the lead screw here is too loose, it'll simply go back and forth with the ratcheting mechanism. And so typically what I've seen, now again it's working right now, but let's see, let's change the direction. So we bring this up and go 180. Yeah, it's working right now, of course, because we've got it on video. Ah, see, there you go. So it didn't release. The ratchet just pulled it back because there's not enough tension on this lead screw. So if I just give it a little bit of tension here with my hand, you can see it works. And then I can't resist it when it's ratcheting. But on the backstroke, it needs a little bit more resistance. So my plan is to put a collar right here with one of those springy kind of washers. There's a special name for it, but I don't remember what it is. And what that'll do is that will put pressure that way. And if I do that, that will give the lead screw enough resistance to so that it doesn't skip. The other thing I'm noticing is that you see this mechanism at the top has a little bit of play in it, which is good. I like that. It's moving freely. So that's at the 12 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, it moves. At 6 o'clock, it's moving. When I get to 3 o'clock, it binds up. From 3 o'clock, and now at 12, it's a little bound up too, and then you can it starts to loosen. So it's a little bit off here as well. I wonder if I back off this a little bit, if that makes a difference. It's hard to tell. Actually, it looks like it might be doing this a little bit. You know what I'm going to try is spin this around the other way. So this hole, you can see it's not perfectly centered. So let me put it this way. Let's see if that does anything different. All right, so at 12, lots of good play. 9 o'clock, yeah, still moving. 6, moving. And at 3, yeah, it's moving, more so than before, but still a little bit tight. 1 o'clock's better. 12 o'clock is good. Let's try like 4. Yeah, it's a little bit tight there. I think the bottom side, this might need to go inwards a little bit. Let's see if we can get any more out of this. Nah, that's in about as far as it'll go. I don't like that. I had this really tight, and then you just saw it came loose. So I'm not sure why that would be happening. Yeah, it's just not perfectly lined up. All right, so working on the table slide mechanism, the lead screw that goes through here. What I'd like to do is get a spring. So I've got this split washer and then a stop. I want to put this on the lead screw and then squeeze it. Just put a little bit of pressure on it so that the advancing mechanism will be able to work. But the problem is there's not enough room here on the back side. So the lead screw goes through fine, but as soon as I just put the washer on it, I can't get the washer all the way down to the base because it starts to bind up on the back. There's just not enough room. So I need to take the table out and kind of grind this area, give a little bit of a recess back here, and flatten the side where the bearing or the spring will be rubbing. All right, so I've got the retaining collar, I've got the split washer, I've carved off the pocket on this back bed here so that the lead screw moves easily. And then there's a pin here which keeps the lead screw from moving left and right. And the flat is right here. So the plan is to put just a little bit of tension. Oh, this set screw looks janky. There's something wrong with that. We're going to get a new one. So the idea is to put just a little bit of tension on that spring. All right, so let me just test actually if this is sticking out too much. If the set screw is sticking out too much. Yeah, it's hitting. That's what bunged up the top of the other one. Yeah, so I need to shave down the top of that set screw. All right, so I've got a shorter set screw. I'm just going to put a little bit of tension on it, not much. And then let's see if these will work. So I've got these spot weld vice grips. And again, I just want to put a little bit of tension on it. Let's just try that and see how it does. No, I didn't really get it. I need to try again. I gotta move you out of the way. All right, let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. But it's not on there perfectly. No, because that's still loose. All right, so this wasn't down all the way. Let's try it again. All right. Oh, it came loose. It came loose. I think that washer is just not the right washer. And this isn't strong enough to hold it in place. Oh, that feels better. I just have a feeling that that collar is just going to walk off. So what it probably needs is a little indent. Yeah, probably needs a little indent on the lead screw. So I could loosen this up, see where that's marking it, and then drill a little bit of a pilot hole right there. Because the tension on this actually feels pretty good. Maybe that's what I'll do. Okay, move that out of the way. And I can see where the Allen head hit it with this pilot drill. Screw the lead screw back in. All right, then, so it's a little loose, but if I get this guy in here, it should pull the lead screw back. Oh no. That trick didn't work, but let's just do this. I'm wondering if the socket will kind of pull it into that groove, into that little pilot hole. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Just a little bit of tension. So it's tensioning here and then tensioning on the top side when it rotates. Alright, the other thing I did is I sharpened, kind of put this on the grinding wheel to just make sure that that was a nice straight, a little bit sharper, if you will, edge. I wonder too if it looks like it might be a little bit tilted and not square. If it's not square, it definitely won't grab well. No, it's pretty square. So far that feels better. I can feel some resistance in the lead screw, which is what we want. And because remember before, the lead screw was just going back and forth with the ratcheting mechanism. All right, that feels better. Let's give that a try. Still not working. The head here is spinning, so that tells me that it's not getting a clean bite. I've done is I set up the first one, which we knew by itself wouldn't be strong enough, but then I drilled for 3 more, so now it'll be gripped on 4 sides. I'll thread these and then that'll have a nice pocket for the set screw to go into. That should hold it. Alright, so now I have the 4 set screws in there, and they are, it's really, the retaining collar is working really well. I think, however, the spring just might be too much, but I'm going to try it. There's definitely a lot more resistance on here. But if I do decide to go with a more appropriate spring, I think it's called a wave washer, there's some name for it, I can still use this setup. I'll either add washers or spacers, whatever I need, but I'm really happy with how that's grabbing on here. So let's put it all back together and try it again.